Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, and today I thought it would be fun if we took a closer look at DC's Year of the Villain Special Issue number 1. It's not quite a review because, well, which is why I've changed up the music and format for the first time in God, I don't even know how long. But there is a good reason for that. You see, Saturday, May 4th is going to be Free Comic Book Day, and this book right here was actually supposed to come out on Free Comic Book Day. Only DC felt these 3 little short stories they were all putting together here were going to be so big, so important, and so impactful on what they have coming for the next year that they were going to actually charge 25 cents for it. Rightly so, fans saw this as a bit of a betrayal of the whole Free Comic Book Day concept, even if it is a very affordable only 25 cents. Eventually, DC Comics did capitulate by ultimately releasing it for free anyway, and in fact releasing it a couple days earlier via digital markets, which of course is why we're here to talk about it today. So yeah, like I said, this book is basically a short story collection of 3 individual stories all involving villains. The first chapter is called Doom, and it's written by Scott Snyder. It has Amanda Waller, who has been taking an absolute beating recently in the pages of the Superman books, wanting to blow the whistle on everything that's been going down with the group Leviathan to the president. Only by the time the Wall gets there, Lex Luthor and his Legion of Doom have completely seized control of the White House as part of a bigger ploy for Lex Luthor to essentially, well, have a big coming out party. Both for the Legion of Doom as an entity and indeed himself as the biggest bad in the DC universe hierarchy. They also try and steal some information from Amanda Waller's brain, but they never actually say what it is they took. Snyder also lets us in on the actual status of LexCorp as a company right now, seeing as Luthor pretty much abandoned all of them to tool around with the Legion of Doom, devoting himself full-time to evil. But it seems that he actually has plans for his family's company after all, mainly liquidating all of his assets, emptying all of his Swiss bank accounts, and using that massive amount of capital to fund every supervillain on planet Earth. Yeah, from Central City to Gotham, everyone is essentially on the Lex Luthor payroll now, given the seed money they need to finally take out their heroes that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. Why, Snyder is even kind enough to throw a bone to Tom King and what's happening in his current Batman story by saying, oh yeah, Bane is totally in on the whole Doom deal that's been happening in Justice League, you just didn't hear about it until now. But don't worry though, old Lex isn't gonna go hungry. In fact, he saved just enough money to fake his own death by blowing up his office building as Captain Atom and the American military came to apprehend him. Want to know what happened after that? Guess you're gonna have to go read more Justice League. Now, Chapter 2 surprisingly rejoins the all-star super team of Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, which between that and the fact that they're drawing both Batgirl and Green Arrow, I feel like they put this little short story together just to try and win me over, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kinda working. Babs and Ollie have joined forces in Seattle to try and take down a fleeing Merlin, who thankfully they call Merlin and not Malcolm Merlin. It's nice to see the Arrow show is getting less and less play in the comics. Also, if you read that last Green Arrow run, then you're probably surprised to see Green Arrow teaming up with anyone from the super community, as he seemingly swore them all off, vowing to not only work on his own from here on out, but to actually try and checkmate the Justice League's more militaristic actions. Well, the answer to that is Bendis didn't read that book, and so he didn't know. Now, why is scary old Merlin running away? Well, he says that he's worried that Leviathan will try and target him next, as they've already destroyed the League of Assassins in their Royal Flush protocol. But before Batgirl and Green Arrow can get any more information out of him, Batgirl is spirited away by some unseen force claiming to work for Leviathan. This creepy masked individual seems to know a lot about Batgirl. In fact, he even says that once upon a time she was Oracle, and then names off several teams that she hasn't been on in forever. Could this possibly mean that Leviathan has some amazing pre-Flashpoint knowledge, or is this just another matter of Bendis writing stuff that wasn't in continuity and no editor checking him? You be the judge. What we know for certain though is that Leviathan is putting out an olive branch to people in the superhero community like Batgirl and trying to get them to join up. In fact, she might not even be the first person they recruited, because Damian Wayne Robin says to his father Batman that perhaps Red Hood Jason Todd is already a member of Leviathan. villain. He says this absolutely out of the blue, by the way, with no real evidence to back it up, but I guess if you want to know more about this, you better read those Leviathan one-shots that are coming out. And with that, we finally come to the third and final chapter of this special issue, and that is a Justice League story written by James Tynion. We see the League trying to save one of the oldest planets in the universe from going into a black hole left in the wake of the destruction of the Source Wall. The League admits that they're at their absolute wits' end when it comes to dealing with the Legion of Doom and Perpetua. They fear that if they're going to be spending all their time trying to save whole planets, there's no way they can fight back against the bad guys. It's Batman who has the idea that if they're stretched too thin, maybe they should go on another recruitment drive. Who are they going to bring into the Justice League? Well, why not everyone in the DC universe, of course? Yeah, that's a really cool idea, and this is a really awesome poster quality image right here, but if you've been reading the Justice League book, it already kind of seems apparent that every important hero is already a member of the Justice League. I mean, come on, Firestorm gets stuff to do in that book, which is just one of the many reasons why it's great and you should be reading it. Now, before everything is said and done, we also check on in with Perpetua herself, the big bad of all big bads, the one who is pulling the strings of Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom to do her bidding. In fact, the final page of this story would seek to imply that maybe Perpetua has a deeper and stranger connection to Lex Luthor than we ever thought possible, that he might actually be a creation of hers. Okay, that's a bit of a hard, jagged pill to swallow, but I'm liking this book and I trust the writers, so I'll wait to see where they go with it, I guess. And so there you have it, everyone, a closer look at DC's Year of the Villain special, and like most free comic book day stories, which this is most definitely what it was originally meant to be, it's as much of a promotional pamphlet as it is an actual book, in fact, even more so. I feel like the marching order for the three stories here was, hey, you know, we got three of the biggest writers in the world right now doing stories for us, but between King, Bendis, and Snyder, everyone's just kinda doing their own thing right now and selling their own stories as the biggest, most important, most apocalyptic thing going on in DC right now, and well, that can't at all possibly be true. So, you know, why don't we try and retroactively create a scenario wherein all of these stories are actually connected, even though for like a year since they've been writing them, it's so clear that's not the case. I also sincerely doubt all these stories that haven't been referencing each other up until now are gonna suddenly start referencing each other. Also, I can see why they were maybe thinking of charging money for this one and eventually just putting it up online, because as a tool to try and get new readers in, I strongly feel that if you didn't know what was going on with these stories anyway, this wouldn't get you hyped because you wouldn't really understand if you haven't been reading. All that being said, though, I do love a good villain-centric story. I am interested in Year of the Villain, and if you're interested in Year of the Villain, be sure to keep your eyes pinned to the Cape Joel channel. I will be covering all those books as they come out in the summer. So until next time, everyone, I've been Cape Joel, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.